Welcome to a program on the Honduras Medical Missions with Father Michael Ausperk, the parochial vicar from Sacred Heart Church here in Wadsworth. I'm Caesar Carino, and our guest today is Father Mike. Father, this word medical mission, Honduras Medical Mission, could you explain a little bit of that and tell us a little bit about it and the history of it and so forth, how you got involved and where it is, and just kind of give us a background.
Sure,
please.
Be happy to. Thank you. A number of years ago when I was the parochial vicar at Holy Family Parish in Stowe, where I served for 5 years, we were looking for a project to get the parish thinking outside of itself and outside of its parish boundaries. We were doing some local service projects, but there seemed to be a need to expand some of that, especially with the resources that we had at the parish in Stowe. It's a very large parish in northeast of Akron. And so I had heard of a group from Cleveland that had been going for a couple of years to Honduras and doing some work with an organization serving the poor. And so I called their pastor, and he said, well, the best thing you could do is come with us. And so I went with them, with one of our nurses and one of our dentists from Holy Family, and to serve on their team for a week. And while we were there, we met with the organizers, or the people in charge of the social service agency in Honduras, and their primary focus is taking care of orphaned, abandoned, or underserved children. They have about 1,000 children in different programs. At any one time, the organization is called Sociedad Amigos de los Niños, so the Friends of the Society of Children.
Right, yes.
And was founded in 1966 by a Franciscan nun, and she has many different programs for these children, but one of the projects that she's trying to do is serve the poor in the areas where these homes are for the children, because there's no medical facilities, there's no doctors, there's no nurses, there's no pharmacies.
Zero?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
And people in the mountain villages, the rural villages, work so much they could never afford, first of all, to get to any place that would have service, and there's no one in their community that serves, that has that service for them. So when we sat down with their organization, I said, well, what do we want? What do you want us to do? We want to come and help you. We want to start a project. And she said immediately, we need more doctors and nurses and dentists to come and be here with us. Can you do that? And so I said, well, my hope would be I would put together a group, but more than just do it one time, I want to make a relationship, a partnership with you, because we're going to get a lot out of doing this, as well as hopefully you are going to get a lot out of doing this. So I came back to Stowe, and we did our first mission in January of 2006.
Oh, it's just somewhat recent then.
Recent, yes, okay. just 8 years ago. And that first group was only about 25 people. And it was very successful. The people that went were very grateful to do it. It's a very eye-opening experience when you go and you are spending a week with people who have absolutely very, very little compared to what we have here in our country and in our homes and our neighborhoods. We saw a lot of people with I wouldn't say severe illnesses, but illnesses nonetheless, coughs and colds, flus, rashes, some injuries. But when those things happen to them, they have no recourse for anything. They can't go anywhere for any help. So they have some home remedies. They might get sicker because they don't have anything to help them. But the organization has asked us to come back every year. So every January, I lead a group down to Honduras. And this past January, in 2013, there were 65 of us. So 65. It's grown tremendously over the years.
Stowe?
No, there's a good number of people from Stowe, from Holy Family, but we get people from all over the Cleveland and Akron area. We get people from out of town. People hear about it, people read about it, and they want to be part of something. My focus in organizing and planning everything, because it takes about 6 months to plan the whole project.
I would imagine, sure.
And organize everything, and the travel, and all the things that we do down there, getting medicines, all those sorts of things. But my hope is that if a medical person would like to do this, that they simply let me know who they are and what their qualifications are, and they don't have to do anything except pay their way. But as far as the organization of it goes and all that, I make it so that it's very easy for them to come that morning and get on the plane, because they're giving up a week of their life. Some cases they have to close their practice, or they have to leave family or take vacation time or something. So I try to make it very easy for them, because they're providing a huge service for us.
Well, now, are you involved with medicine at all? Or I know you're a priest, obviously, but
right.
Are you involved with medicine?
I had no previous training, but I've gotten pretty good at medicine and medical things now. Yes.
You probably have a degree in medicine by now, after
probably
seeing
at least
all
by
these
practice.
People.
Yes.
What you said some of the things that you were just mentioning here probably are some of the heartaches that you take away, the fact that they're so poor,
Yes.
the fact that they don't have anything.
Yes.
Are there any really good feelings that you might have?
Oh, there's tremendous good feelings. It's sort of a plus and minus. We get a lot of good feelings about helping people, but you realize that we're leaving after a week, and they may not see a doctor for another year or 2 years,
Oh, boy.
depending on what the other groups that come to that area are. So we do what we can, and that's one of the things that goes back to an old story about the boy walking along the seashore, and he throws one starfish into the sea amongst a million starfish, and his comment is, "But I helped one. It made a difference to that
That's
one."
right.
So that's what we try to remind ourselves is, though we're only serving a couple thousand people, it's at least helping.
Oh, that many?
This past time it was almost 3,000 people in 5
Wow.
days.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, now, is it always at one spot, or do you go around the island, or
Because
or
we
not the island, but the country?
the country, right? Because we have a partnership with this organization in Honduras, the Sociedad de Amigos de los Niños, we make a commitment to go to their guest quarters, and so we actually rent their guest quarters from them for our stay, which then provides them some money to help take care of the children in their care. So we always stay at the same guest quarters. They determine, depending on other medical brigades and other groups, and where there's need and the size of our group, which villages we should go to. So we've gone to repeat villages in the area, but there's about 80 villages that they try to take care of. So we've been to a portion of those.
What are the guest quarters like? I mean, probably very Spartan, are they not?
They're sparse, yeah. They're basically cabin-like conditions, wood floors. There are flush toilets and showers, beds,
Which, of course,
screens in the windows. The ladies who cook and clean and do the laundry, if we needed a laundry done, there are very, very gracious, and they're wonderful cooks. We get really good meals. I love it that a lot of people think that when they go down there, they're going to lose some weight, and unfortunately, they find out after day 2 they're not going to be losing any weight.
Then that's the unplus side.
The unplus side, yes. No one's there for a weight loss program. But the ladies are very concerned that because they know we're going to work long days, they want us to be fed well, and they want us to come back.
When you say long days, is it really long days?
Yes, we have breakfast between 6:30 and 7, and by 7:30 we're in our buses. And depending on how far away from our guest quarters, we have to go anywhere from 10 minutes away up to 2 hours away. So, and these are mountain roads, no guardrails.
Oh, boy.
We're on buses with very safe drivers, very good drivers. It's a beautiful country, Central America, right close to the rainforest. We're in a valley, a very large fertile valley where they grow a lot of sugarcane and watermelons and corn and rice. So we travel to a village that knows we're coming. They've known for about 3 or 4 weeks before we go. Somebody's in the advance team has been out there to tell them we're coming on a particular day. And so when we arrive, there's usually a line of people waiting for us. And it's usually the older people who are up early in the morning and ready to go. And then we set up our examining areas, usually in a school building. That's the biggest building in the community. And we begin seeing people, and we see everyone that's there through maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Before we don't want to be driving on the roads when it's dark.
I can imagine.
That's
no
a safety issue.
guardrails.
Right.
Now, what about the? I guess the way that I would like to just pose this is, you said, I think I heard you say just a moment ago, that they pay their own way. I mean,
the people going on the trip, yes.
They pay their own way.
Yes.
So in other words, they're not only giving of their services, but they're also giving of their...
They're paying to go, or they have to raise the money from their family and friends. Some people do that as well. You. Well, the cost, for example, the cost this past year for each person was $1,300, and unfortunately most of that is the airfare, which runs around $800. And we don't get any break from the airlines for this. No, even though we're doing a humanitarian thing, they don't give us any break. And then the rest of that money covers the lodging, the food, the transportation, those sorts of things for the week that we're there. And then everyone gets a scholarship based on the amount of money we raise at a big clam bake in September. We have a very large clam bake fundraiser.
Now, is this something that is worldwide, or is it something that is localized?
It's not organized worldwide. It's done by many groups. In fact, the organization we work with in Honduras has about 1 or 2 groups every week that come to their location.
Oh, I see. All right.
From all over Canada and the United States.
But now you started the one here in this area,
Holy Family in Stowe.
And you did that about 5 years ago, you say?
In 06. So this is our 8th trip this year. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
What about the feelings that you have when you're right down there, you're a very I know you personally, so you're a very compassionate person, you're very much involved with people, and have such a good way of making people feel good. Since you're not a doctor, what kinds of things do you do that help to elevate the spirits of these people? Right.
Well, first of all, you can imagine the organization it takes to take 65 people to a third world country, and most of them have never been outside into a third world country before. So it's relieving their fears or their worries or anxieties, making sure that everything is taken care of so that they have no problems, they have no questions, they have no concerns about where we're going, what we're eating, what we're going to be sleeping, all those sorts of things. So taking care of all that. Then practically speaking, when I'm there, we have hundreds of people waiting for us in these villages, and so it's making sure that they're not waiting in any more lines or with any more time than they have to. So making sure that they're in the right place. I do speak a bit of Spanish, so I can help them get to the right place. Everyone has a patient sheet which helps them and us know where they're supposed to be at any one time.
What about the doctors? Do they speak Spanish?
A few of our doctors do, but we also bring translators with us.
We have translators.
And we also hire translators in Honduras. There's some young people that have taught themselves English, and they know that we will hire them when we come down there, so they make some money for their college.
Now, you said two things that are opposed to one another. One, it's a beautiful country.
It is.
And then you say that these people live in absolute squalor.
Yes.
Do you have any pictures?
I do, yes. I have many thousands of pictures. I did bring some of them with me. I didn't bring all of them with me.
If we can get it down to maybe 500 or 600.
Yeah, well, I could do that, yes.
Could you give us, there's one right there. Now, what is that one?
That's the opening mass we do before we leave. That's at Holy Family, and that's the group of almost 65 people were there that day. Amongst the 65 are some Archbishop Hoban High School students. I've been working with that school for a couple of years. Those are the Hoban students. They're all from the honors Spanish classes.
Oh,
and they come with us also as translators.
They can translate then too, sure.
With two of their faculty members, right. So we pack our suitcases in Stowe, and everyone has 2 suitcases full of medical supplies, and then this is the airport, outside the airport in Honduras. They're loaded onto a truck. We get onto buses, and then we drive about an hour and 15 minutes east of the capital near a town called Danlí, where the guest quarters are. It's it's a small village where our guest quarters are, and there are some orphans nearby that we also have some connection with while we're there. So,
who gives you the medicines, or do you have to buy the medicines?
The medicines we get from 5 nonprofit agencies in the country. We have to apply to them, and we have to pay their administrative fees and their shipping. So we spend about $10,000 doing that.
Now, there's a person on the screen right now that looks kind of familiar.
Kind of familiar. That's me having Mass in Spanish in the chapel, which we do the night that we arrive. It's a way for the people in the village to have Mass. They don't have Mass very often. The children really enjoy singing, and they enjoy serving Mass. And so we sort of because our group is there also, we do a sort of a Spanish-English with the readings and some of the prayers and that. So.
Now, were these altar servers trained by you, or they were trained before
they're trained by their priest, who does come on occasion, and they're orphans or abandoned children from the village.
That's so pitiful.
And they love any attention. They love us coming, and many of our people have been coming for many years, the same people, so they get to know the kids too, and the kids get to know them. So it's like going to see family.
What are those, about 12-year-olds?
They're 12 and 14-year-olds, right. Then the next morning we get up early, as I mentioned, and we head out to one of the villages. This is the first day, and people are waiting for us, and they come in. A lot of children we see. This is one of our doctors, Ellen Kempf, who is a doctor from Akron Children's Hospital, and her husband there is Jeff. The gentleman in the blue is one of the young men who taught themselves English. He's now about 26 years old, but he taught himself English when he was about 12, and he started getting hired by us when we come down there to help with translation. He himself is in medical school. So the people come in and they meet with the doctor, with the nurse, who's sitting with the translator if they need that service, and go over their patient problems, whatever they might be. A lot of malnutrition, which of course we can't do much of, but there's a lot of skin diseases, there's a lot of cough and cold. They don't have any pain relievers like we would have in our medicine cabinets, but we do give them cough and cold and pain relievers and vitamins.
What about very serious illnesses such as cancer?
Right. Some people know that they have that because they've been to the capital. We don't have any of those kind of drugs. We take very simple things. We don't take any heavy-duty stuff. But we can assist them with maybe some side effects or some other problems. They might have pain relief or some other skin disorder. We have a lot of things that we bring with us, but we don't have like a whole pharmacy that you might have here.
Oh, sure.
We have maybe about 100 different things that we bring with us. So.
And these things are all carried from the United States. You
Yes,
don't buy
we bring
anything
everything
down there.
The only thing we do buy down there are anti-parasite meds, which we can't really get here because we don't have that problem here.
Right.
So we buy them down there. They're pretty inexpensive down there. We also see a lot of infection, so we do have antibiotics with us, different forms of antibiotics that we have with us, pill form, tablet form, and oral
This looks like a
liquids.
surgery here. Is that?
Well, we usually take dentists with us, and so we had
okay.
5 dentists with us. We don't plan on any electricity in the buildings when we go to these places, so the dentists know they have to bring everything with them they're going to need to extract teeth without electricity.
Without electricity.
So they meet with the patient, they go over, those are actually beach chairs that we use for dental chairs because there's nothing else down there. And the dentists are given an assistant and a translator if they don't know Spanish. And then they have all their instruments. And so they meet with the patient. They do bring lidocaine and novocaine with them to help numb the mouth.
That's
for
good.
an extraction, yes. There's a lot of infection in the mouth because they have no fluoride in their water. They have very little tooth care. They don't brush their teeth. A lot of them don't have toothbrushes, or if they did, they may have lost them, or they may not use them. So when extracting teeth, the dentists are very careful. They only extract what they need to extract. In some cases, it's quite a few teeth because of the infection and the disease.
What are the age groups of the people with whom you work?
On the group, the medical mission, or the people that we see?
The patients.
The patients, anywhere from infancy to, we've had people in their 80s and 90s come to us. People in wheelchairs, people with crutches, all kinds of things.
Are these more dentists here?
These are actually nurses
nurses.
there, doing some triage information. They'll do blood pressure checks, they'll do sugar check, temperature, pulse, those kind of things. And then the doctor gets into the actual exam.
So in other words, these people have never had any medical doctor of their own. There's no primary care physician there.
No, there's no medical clinic or anything in these villages.
Hospitals,
No.
nothing.
If they did see anybody, it's usually a group like ours coming into their town.
Now this is the patient, obviously, on the well. We went back to that one, but can we go back to the other one? There one.
Sure.
Is that a patient there?
On the right, yes, that's
now,
a
he
patient.
looks like he's fairly well dressed. Is that?
It's very common. They know, like I said, about 3 weeks before that we're coming, and they know that we've traveled far and that we're all professionals in what we're doing, and so they get cleaned up and put on their best clothes.
Okay.
And you never smell anything. You'd think people who lived in these kind of conditions, there would be some kind of odors or something. There's never any odors. They're very, very grateful, and they consider this an honor that we've come to their town. So they really dress up and are very, very respectful to us.
These are the nurses again, is that right?
That's a nurse on the right side, yes, and then translators on the left, and the woman in the middle is with her children. There's one of our young men. He actually is from Sacred Heart. Travis Perro from Sacred Heart is a translator from Hoban, and there's one of the nurses there with the translators. The people come with a lot of children. There's mothers and grandmothers and aunts with all kinds of children. There's a line of people waiting. They're very, very patient. They have a tradition when they wait in line that if somebody comes who's over the age of 60 or carrying an infant, that person can go right to the front of the line with no explanation and no arguing.
I like that.
They go right to the head of the line, and people are very welcoming for them to do that.
I'm not
They want
carrying
them
any
to do
babies,
that,
but I'm over
so.
60. So.
Yes. And that's one of our dentists there extracting teeth. There's a couple of these that are a little gory, so if people don't like the sight of blood, they might want to turn away when that happens. We do sterilize all the instruments
with
bleach, clean water and bleach, both. And that's people waiting in line for the pharmacy at one of the villages. It's a beautiful sunny day that day. It's gorgeous.
Now what is that? Is that one of the buildings that you put up, or is that?
No, that's something that's there. We just used it because it had some shade. And there was, it's like a kiosk where they might sell some pop or something.
Now you were there in January. In
January,
yes.
yes.
This is nice and warm.
Beautiful, 85 every day, sunny, it's gorgeous.
Now is that why you do it in January?
I like to do it in January because I can leave here and go to a nice climate, yes. It's very nice. That's the dental clinic. So you see it's just a big classroom, and we just set up the chairs and tables in there, and we work out of whatever space we're given. That's one of our dentists there. Again, they don't have great light, so they have to wear the headlights, battery-operated headlights, so they can see into the person's mouth. Wow. Yes. And the kids are very stoic. They're very brave. The people are very good about this. They might come in and want 6, 8, or 10 teeth taken out because they don't know when the next time is they can have dental work done, and they can sometimes buy a plate of teeth. Easier than they can't get a partial around teeth, but they could buy a whole plate.
A whole plate.
So it's easier for them to have their teeth extracted and be able to go with a plate if they only have a couple teeth left in their mouth.
Well, we don't know
So,
how lucky we are.
we're very blessed. Yes, we are very, very blessed. And our tooth care here is phenomenal. I mean, what you can get to take care of your teeth if you do it. You got to do it. Some
You
work
have to do
yourself.
some work.
You
That's
know.
right, absolutely.
But it's a great experience, and people are very, very grateful when they come to us.
Now the girl in red, what is she doing? Is she one of the patients?
She's one of the patients.
She's
Yes.
one of the patients.
Yeah, the doctor's on the right with the baseball cap there. And that's one of our Honduran doctors. We're required by Honduran law to have a Honduran doctor with us the entire time we're there because they know the local problems or the local challenges. So that's our doctor, our Honduran doctor named Claudia. She's been with us a number of years. We also give out apples to all the people. They don't get anything to eat while they're with us unless they bring their own food. And so we do give them a healthy choice, and that's a Washington State apple we buy actually from a fruit market in the capital in Honduras.
And they're down there.
They're down there, but they're expensive for the people of Honduras. So we buy them. We buy about 25 cases of apples.
They aren't
and
cheap
then
here.
We give them out to the people when they get their pharmacy meds. So
This seems like another dental.
it is a dental extraction, yes. And the doctors are very careful, of course, with gloves. They don't want any cross-contamination from patient to patient.
Is that a baby?
That's a child.
Oh,
I believe it's a young child. And there's another Sacred Heart girl up there in the top, Marianne Dennemiller from Hoban, who's also one of our translators on our trip. So they do really wonderful work. This was a fire captain, the fire brigade captain, that came to just check out what was going on, and he brought us some hats. So he was really happy
I mean
with
the fire from Honduras.
From
Oh,
Honduras,
I see.
right. They came from the local village just to assist us and help keep order, and they wanted to be in on the action. There's a lady in a wheelchair right there with one of our translators. And that's another shot of the pediatrician. On the right there is May, who is our Honduran organizer for Sociedad Amigos de Latinos.
Oh, you do have somebody there who organizes
She
this
works
as
for
well.
that organization, yes. And then I work with her to arrange everything. So we've become very, very, very good friends over the last 8 years. There's a bit of extraction there, a little colorful shot.
At first,
That's
just to
the
watch
inside.
it.
That's actually the inside of our bus. That's with Hondurans. One day we were at a village and we finished rather early, and I told the bus driver to go to a neighboring village down the street and bring people back. And so they brought back a different number of busloads. They brought back about 150 extra people for us to see. It's much easier for us just to see them rather than pack up and go to their
Go to their
town.
place.
So
Now,
we brought them to us.
On a
Worked
day
out real
like
nice.
that, you probably were there until about 10 o'clock at night.
We were there till about 5. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the people, once the nurses and doctors and dentists get their rhythm going, they really can move people through. We don't want people to stay there more than they have to.
And no one has insurance, obviously.
There's no insurance. That's one of the great things. We don't have to worry about any paperwork.
That's
The only paperwork we worry about is the patient sheet. But we joke about that, about getting insurance approval or for a procedure or something. But we can do just about everything we can. And we even have an emergency room doctor with us who brings a large bag of all of his toys, sort of all of his things that he needs. And so he's able to do minor procedures, even some minor surgeries on
really?
people with the things that he has. Here he's splinting a finger. I convinced him not to cut it off. It wasn't that bad. All he needed to do was splint the finger, and the man was all set. It was broken finger, but the man had nothing to do. He had nothing to fix it with.
You're just all heart. You don't want him to cut that finger
Well,
off.
he's big on the cutting part. I didn't want him to cut. I said, this guy doesn't need the finger cut off. Don't worry about that. We gave out sunglasses. The sun is very intense, and they have no protection from the sun, so we give out a lot of sunglasses. And one of the things they do is they keep the stickers on the sunglasses because they want everyone else to know that they're new.
They're brand new.
They're brand new.
Of course, absolutely. That's their ISOD.
And again, they're
logo.
very, very grateful to have the service that we provide
Now,
for
is that
them.
the one on the right? Is that a worker or is that a?
That's one of our pediatricians
Okay.
from Akron Children's Hospital, yes. There's another extraction there. Actually, I think he's suturing up a hole that he
That
made.
looks painful just to watch it.
There's the fire brigade captain down there in Honduras in that town with the hats that he gave out to us. And I think the next picture is the firemen that were with him. We're all in the picture. They love getting their picture taken. They're very serious when they get their picture taken, you know. Not many of them smile. They're
I'm somewhat
pretty
surprised they
straight-faced.
have uniforms. That, of course, what are they? Fatigues or something like that?
Right. Well, they're employed by the country, so they are an organized fire department for the country.
For the whole entire country.
Right, and they're stationed in towns and villages all throughout the country.
They're not volunteers then.
No, there would be paid people. That would be a paid job. That's the chapel at our guest quarters near the main plaza. And then the next couple of pictures are the nativity set that was set up there, where the kids from the homes of the underserved and orphaned children bring all their toys to the nativity set, because everyone comes to praise God for the gift of Jesus born at Christmas. So this is a hut, basically, they put up for the Christmas season.
Now those lights, you said there's no electricity.
Well, in the village where we stay, there's electricity, but the villages we go to, we don't count on electricity. So the kids bring all their toys and things from their homes, and they even set up a little airport there. They set up a farm, because the stuff they have from their homes are little toy planes, or maybe a cow or a tractor. And so they set up a nice little village for Jesus' birthday. That's our dining room where we have our meals. It holds about 100 people altogether, and that's the food line. And the food is very, very good. We usually always have rice and beans, tortillas, which is common for Honduras. And then we have either chicken or fish, vegetables. Breakfast is usually French toast or eggs. But again, they do feed us very, very well. And we're paying for that. We're paying the food bill. We do give out some books. We try to get some books to take with us, and we give out some books. We try to find some bilingual children's books, because a lot of the kids want to learn English. Surely. And this way they can learn by reading children's stories. The Holy Family Girl Scouts put together these little plastic bags filled with toys for the children, which is a nice thing that the kids know that we're thinking about them. We want them to have a little bit of fun when we're with them. They're dressed up there. It was a little cold for them, so they were wearing their sweaters that day.
Oh, it's 85, a little chilly.
I think that day it was more like 75, but they were still chilly. So, but they're very grateful. Anything we can do for them, time spent with them, getting to know their name. They're very big on getting to know their name, and they want to know our name also. They're very big on names, which is really great. That's one of the lines, people waiting for us. And they're very patient, very patient. They take that word patient seriously. They're extremely patient.
Any way they can infuse American people with being more patient?
Wouldn't that be nice? I think that's one thing we do learn from them, is how patient they are, and we have to just say, you know what, it's okay. It's going to be, and we have to just deal with it. That he asked one of the doctors if he could have some tape. I don't know why he wanted to tape his eyes closed, but
maybe he's going to get his teeth out. Right?
Just they like to have some fun too. And the people are very grateful, and they have lots of questions. They have lots of concerns. They may have been sick maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and they want to talk about that, what they should have done. If we can give them anything for the next time they might get sick. Everyone gets vitamins for 6 months, cough and cold medicine, pain relievers, a tooth care kit, and an apple. So everyone gets that. Everybody gets that across the board.
And you had enough to go around.
We did. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And the people walk away with a nice bag of stuff that they can have for their house. And families of 6, 8 people all equally get the same amount of stuff. So it doesn't matter how many people they come to us.
Do they have any kind of reception for you, a party for you, or anything like that?
Not in the villages so much. There's been a couple of times where the mayor has come out from the village to thank us. We usually have a closing party with the kids in the village nearby, the orphan kids that are near us. We try to have a little party for them. That was an arch at the town we were at Pescadero, which means fisherman. That's the inside of our bus. Basically, it's not a very big bus, but we have 3 of those that seat about 25 people each. On Sundays, our day off, and so we go to a very large shrine to Mary, to Our Lady of Suyapa, which is similar to the Guadalupe story in Mexico.
Mexico, right.
And this is the chapel that they have there with a figure of Mary at the top there. It's a beautiful area. There's some vendors there selling souvenirs and selling food. And then we go to a place for lunch. This is the place we went to for lunch. It's a little resort. And I know the people that own this. I've known them for a couple of years. And so we had lunch there. They had a nice buffet lunch for us that we pay for, but we needed someone to do it rather quickly for the 65 people that we had. And then we go to a little town where they sell some souvenirs, and we let the people buy some souvenirs to take back with them, trinkets, jewelry, maybe some coffee, those kind of things.
Help out the local economy.
To help out the local economy, yes. On the last day, which was a Monday before the group left, we actually walked to the neighboring village. It was just about a 10-minute walk, and we got there and found out they wanted us to be in the school building, But the two teachers that had the key to the school building had gone to the Capitol to buy school supplies and took the key with them. So nobody could get in the school building. So we decided not to have the brigade there. We walked back to our guest quarters and had everybody from that village, we bussed them down to us because we had a lot more shade than they did under the trees and in some of the buildings. So it worked out really well that we were able to bring everybody back to our guest quarters for the brigade. We have one story that I think will be interesting to people because, again, I mentioned earlier about how it makes a difference to us that one person is taken care of by this medical mission. And Dr. Jeff, who's pictured there, was one of the pediatricians from Akron Children's Hospital, saw a mother who came to us, was on a bus for 2.5 hours to come to see us. She had been in the Capitol, gave birth to her baby boy, Jeremy, by cesarean section. And so she was in the hospital still 3 days after she had the baby, and she found out from her parents that we were going to be in a village about 2.5 hours from the Capitol. And she had been told when her son was born that he had a heart defect that needed surgery, and the only place she can get the surgery is in the United States. Well, that would be like telling someone here, oh, you need surgery, but you can only get that surgery on Pluto. So good luck.
Yeah,
hope you get there.
Yeah.
It's just impossible for the people to fathom that they could get to the United States for surgery. So she heard that the American doctors were coming from her parents, so she rode the bus 2.5 hours with a 3-day-old baby, having having given birth by cesarean section. Came to us. Our pediatrician checked the baby over and did find out that the baby had a pulmonary stenosis, which is only corrected by surgery. And he turned to May, who was our coordinator in the organization in Honduras, and said, "What can we do?" And she got on her cell phone and she called a friend of ours who works at the Cleveland Clinic, who takes groups down to Honduras, and asked him when the next group of surgeons might be coming to Honduras from the States. He made a phone call, and within 15 minutes of a couple of phone calls, they had Jeremy scheduled for surgery the first week of February. So this was just a couple of weeks after we were there.
In Cleveland?
In Honduras.
Oh, in Honduras.
There were surgeons from the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota coming down to Honduras to do surgeries
but they had to
teach at a hospital in Tegucigalpa in the capital to teach the surgeons how to do some of these surgeries. They were going to do surgeries. And so they scheduled Jeremy for a heart surgery the first Thursday in February. And so then the mother left us, and she had to go back and check herself back in the hospital because she was having further surgery the next day.
Oh, poor
as a
soul.
result of the C-section. She needed further surgery, so she had to ride that bus 2.5 hours back. She had the surgery the next day. Jeremy had the surgery the first Thursday of February, and I received an email that night from our coordinator saying, "Mom and Jeremy are doing fine. Everyone's going to be fine." And
that has to be one of the high points that you had.
It is. It is just knowing that they came to us. They didn't know what we could do for him. We couldn't obviously do the surgery, but just having the connections we have with all the people that I've met over the last 8 years, we were able to make a connection and schedule the surgery.
If nothing else, it was that one starfish into the sea.
That's all it took. And we kept telling ourselves after that all we got to think about is Jeremy, and everything is. Though we saw almost 3,000 people, that one name will never escape me.
And he can probably become the president, of course.
You never know. You never know. But, could become a doctor too.
Well, he could become a doctor.
Yeah.
Or a priest even.
Or a priest. That'd be wonderful. We'll take him.
Never can tell. Now this looks like a picnic there. Is that right?
Well, it's not quite a picnic. It's where we were seeing people the last day. It was at our guest quarters. That's a gazebo area off one of the buildings. And the doctors were inside the gazebo area just at tables and chairs, as you can see. So people were coming, and we saw all the kids, the 150 kids from the underserved and orphan children also. We saw them as well.
Is that brick or is it adobe or something?
That's brick. Brick. And there's a brick factory associated with the organization. They make their own bricks for these buildings that they build. So it was a beautiful day, as you can see, very sunny and bright.
We were having the same kind of weather here in January.
Yes, well, we actually had a few days in January that were kind of nice.
Not that nice.
Not that nice. I think we're paying for it now with 30-degree temperatures in March. Mm-hmm. So we were able to see all the staff members of the organization we volunteer for and all the children from the neighboring village as well that day.
Of all of the things that are not important, the one that is most unimportant to me is how a person looks, under these kinds of circumstances. But I'm really amazed at how good they look. I mean, they look clean and haircut. When we first started talking, I was thinking they were going to be scrudgy.
Well, yeah, you would think that in the conditions they live in, but they do take care of themselves.
That's wonderful.
And they are very concerned that we know that they're grateful. And so one of the ways they dress up, they look respectable, they're very kind, they're very grateful. It's truly, that's, I think, for a lot of the people that are first timers, it's a very big surprise to them, which is a good surprise.
Well, it's been a surprise here just to see it.
Yes.
Look there, and those kids are just...
I've known those kids for 8 years. They're in the homes, and they're brothers and sister to each other, and wonderful kids.
Now, are these are orphans? They have
either orphaned or abandoned. They have parents, but if the parents have too many kids, they have to leave them with sister. So that's the beautiful valley that we actually work in. That's the Morosely Valley.
What is the green? Is that?
It's grass,
it's just
trees.
Grass. I thought maybe it might have been the sugar cane that you were talking about.
It could be. There's acres and acres of sugar cane grown in this valley. It's a very fertile valley.
That's something the kids made, maybe?
That's the kids. There's a home up on the top of the hill there for kids with HIV.
Just out of curiosity,
about 25
what kind of trees
kids
could those
live
be?
there. Trees? I don't know what kind of trees those are.
They're kind of a strange looking tree, but they're nice looking, beautiful.
And then the last night, as I mentioned, we have a little party amongst ourselves, so we get some cake. This was Margarita's 71st birthday, so they had a cake for her. And then we have a cake for the Holy Family and Hoban group. We share the cake, obviously. Celebrate the end of our trip and the good work that we did, and enjoy some downtime that evening, which is very nice. There's the cake for Margarita, beautifully decorated. The cakes are made in a local bakery in a wood-fired oven. If you can imagine baking a cake in a wood-fired oven, trying to do that. That's a decoration of the cake. Beautiful cake.
Now the natives did that?
No, the bakery in the neighboring village does that. Yes. And then the kids from Hoban painted a rock, sort of leave their mark there.
Make sure that they have that.
Yep. With the bright heat, though, the heat and this brightness of the sun, I should say, that'll last about 2 months.
Is that right?
Yeah, it all fades very quickly. Yeah. And then we go and have a dance party and give some treats out to the children in the homes, the orphan and abandoned children. They love any kind of attention. They love to have a good time. They sang happy birthday to Margarita. They danced and sang, and we had a really good time.
Who is Margarita?
She's one of the translators there.
Oh, the translator.
Yeah, her birthday was like the next day or something, so we celebrated her birthday.
Now, what kinds of things did the people take back from there culturally? You brought a lot of our culture to them.
Right.
Were there any kinds of things that they thought were...
There's the group from Sacred Heart, the four people from Sacred Heart that came with us.
Okay.
A nurse on the right, Tiffany Leonard, then Carolyn Hawkins, and Travis and Marianne. Those are the young men that have all taught themselves English since they were maybe 10 or 12 years old, and now we hire them to help us with translation.
Oh, good.
The cultural thing, I think, is important, that we bring back a sense of simplicity that we don't often have in our culture and our world. We're very advanced. We have a lot of things and great things at our disposal, in our homes, in our cars, in our hands, with our cell phones and all of the things that we have. But I think to realize you can leave all that behind and work with people, you can survive, you can thrive, actually. I think that's one of the amazing things, I think, I've spoken a couple times with the Hoban students, because we make them leave their cell phones and everything at home. They can't bring any of that stuff with them. No
communication.
Well, you don't. Well, there's a small internet cafe as part of the organization that people can use, but you don't know what your cell phone's signal is going to get when you're down there, and you might get this huge bill when you come home. So we tell people just to leave it at home. They can They can email if they want to. Some of them say, no, I told my family I'm going to be gone for a week, and I'll see them next week. So they have no problem doing that. But I think we realize the simplicity with which these people live. And I think that's one of the things I bring back with me is, all this is nice stuff to have, but it doesn't mean I'm living.
That's right, yeah. But now, as far as the students who go down there for a week, do you have a different group than every week for the 3 weeks that you're there? You're there the entire 3 weeks.
Well, we're just there. The group is there a week. The group, the medical
okay.
group is there a week.
Oh, okay.
Just a week. And then because I've gone so many years, I've gotten to know a lot of people, so I usually stay a few extra days to visit with them because they've become friends of mine. And while the group is there doing the medical brigades, I don't have a lot of time to socialize or see people.
And that probably is much more valuable, almost as valuable as the assistance that you give them, the fact that you have that kind of relationship with them.
It is.
Because if we had a few more of those, maybe we could have a few wars, one-on-one.
Quite possibly, yes.
And hugging one another.
So I spend some time with the people that live in the village, spend some time more time with the kids in the orphan homes, and also have mass for them and do some other things with other groups that might be down there at the same time. So,
do you have people who are in the group who are not Catholic, for instance?
Yes, we we take anybody that wants to go,
anybody,
especially if they're medical or they're translators, and then we have a group of other people who maybe don't have any medical background or know any Spanish to provide assistance to everyone else. So they might work in the pharmacy helping fill prescriptions, which are overseen then by the pharmacist. Another person who doesn't have any medical background might help in the dental clinic as an assistant to a dentist if they don't mind being around saliva and blood. They would be an extra pair of hands for the dentist, again, because they're not in their normal offices where they have all the things at their disposal. Right, sure. They're in a classroom with a couple of tables.
How do they drill teeth?
There's no drills. It's all done by extractions. It's all only extractions we perform.
Wow.
Right. So we always take a handful, maybe 12 or 15 other people who help with other responsibilities.
Now, are they all from Holy Family Church?
No, a good number of people come from Holy Family in Stowe, but we gather people from all over the place. So what happens is usually around June, beginning of July, I'll set the dates for our trip in January, and then I'll send an email out and I'll send word out to the church bulletins, the churches that I work with, and then I'll start getting information back from people or requests that they want to go. They fill the application out, they give me their passport, and then I start processing those things for them.
Now there has to be a genesis to absolutely everything that starts.
Mm-hmm.
What was your genesis on this? Was it a thought? Was it a desire to help? What made you want to do it?
Well, I've heard for years of countries that need help with many different things. Either it's a building project, or it's engineers, or it's doctors, or it's teachers, different disciplines. But it was when I was at Holy Family and we realized we needed to branch out a bit with our service projects. And so that's when I thought, well, maybe we could do something international with medicine, because we had a lot of medical people in Stowe at Holy Family. And it worked out great, and it's been a great thing ever since.
So you probably are too humble to say this, but actually this was your idea.
It was, yes, but at the same time we were looking for something to branch the parish out from thinking just about its own local needs and local problems, to think outside of itself. And the world becomes smaller when you travel. And
that's so true. That's true.
This allowed people from our neck of the woods, our area, to go to a place in some cases they never heard of before, didn't know what it was. If you would have asked them where Honduras was before, they would have said, somewhere outside of the United States, you know.
Somewhere close to Washington State.
Right, exactly. And so this allowed people to have a connection, and I think once they've gotten to know people down there, they've gotten to see the work that we do, that they can do, it brings the world closer.
Is there any recognition from the, well, say for instance, from the top echelon people in Honduras toward, say, for instance, a cell such as yours? Do you get anything from the president, from the?
I wouldn't say there's any recognition from the government, except they just leave us alone. I guess they could make trouble for us if we're bringing all this medicine into their country. They want to know at the airport. The officials usually just check a couple of suitcases, but they know what we're doing, and so they let us go through. And we're not carrying any narcotics or any of those kind of heavy-duty medicines, antibiotics, pain relievers, cough and cold, pretty general kind of stuff, simple stuff. And so they're very allowing of us to go and do this. And I don't think they haven't given us any trouble, but they also haven't given us any recognition. Now in the local villages, you may get a recognition by the mayor or by somebody that's an in-charge person of some type will come by and thank us and be grateful to us for what we're doing.
Not that you're looking for recognition, but it's nice to have the understanding that they appreciate. But I think I heard you say that the people appreciate it so much, and that probably is the greatest recognition that you can receive, and the greatest sense of being uplifted.
It
that
truly
you can
is.
receive,
It truly
because
is.
they're the ones who are the recipients.
Yep.
The government really, well, I guess they're the recipients in a way, but when your tooth hurts, so you can get the pain relieved.
Exactly.
Thank you, whoever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
And they can't pay us. They don't have any money to pay us. Some people have brought us fruit, which is kind of fun when that happens. They'll bring us something from their yard. Maybe they have some bananas or they have some oranges or something. But it's not common, I would say. But the gratitude is pretty amazing.
What a question that comes to my mind, as a matter of fact, throughout this entire episode here that we've been sitting and talking about this, and it's a hard question to ask. Do they really have a full and firm understanding of where this came from? I mean, do they understand that we here in the United States are very wealthy? I shouldn't say all of us, but I mean, we have all these wonderful things and so forth. Or do they just think that the whole world is like that, the way they are?
Right, and part of the difficulty is their worldview is very small because they don't have, in many of these villages, they don't have TV, they don't have any kind of internet, they don't have the World Wide Web to let them know what's going on in the rest of the world. So they think that we are in a country that is very wealthy, obviously, but they also know from meeting people from our country that we're also very generous and we're very giving. If we're willing to come down to their country and do what we're doing, they know we're there on our own, we're paying our own way, that we're there because we want to help. They know we're not there because of our government sending us there,
right,
or their government bringing us in. They know that that's not the case. They find us to be, I think they view us as being very blessed and very a rich, not just monetarily, but a very rich country, but we're also a generous country.
But do they know where you came from?
Yes.
They
do know we're from the States. They may not know anything about Ohio. When you say Ohio, they don't quite know what Ohio is. They don't understand the comprehension of states, but they know that we're from the United States of America and that we've come to help them with their medical needs.
What are the kinds of needs would say, for instance, if you were not a medical person, what are the kinds of needs? I know that they have humanity or the people who build houses.
The Habitat for Humanity, right.
And things like that. What are the kinds of needs that they have that, knowing who you are, you'll be thinking in the future, well, they have these other kinds of needs, and I'm going to help provide those. What other kinds of needs would they have besides medical?
Well, an outgrowth of the medical missions is there's a group actually that we have been encouraging to help with, and that's water engineers, to make sure that they get safe, drinkable water in their villages, and to create a system for their homes where they're able to get safe, drinkable water.
Where do they get it now, from a well or something?
It's a well, right, and they collect rainwater. But once that water sits for a while, it gets bugs, and so you have to somehow treat it and then be able to keep that purified water in some kind of a purified tank. And so we've been encouraging, and I know some water engineers are working on this, and it goes hand in hand with then the sanitation system also in their villages, of what they do with either wastewater or with their own waste, and how that is not hopefully contaminating the water that they're going to be using or drinking or cooking with. And so that's been a constant thing going on in some of these villages, is working with the people to use UV rays and filters for their water, and then creating a sanitation system so that they are healthier. And it's all a medical need.
Yeah, it's all a medical need, right. Do you have any thoughts of whether something like this is going to happen in the future?
Oh, in some of the villages it's already happening.
Already happening.
Yes.
And I would imagine that you have had your hand at least in trying to get this started.
Well, we've done what we can to encourage the people who are actually doing it, because it does relate to our work then. There won't be as many sick people if they're taking care of the water and the sanitation in their villages.
Knowing you on a personal basis, I would say that your encouragement was probably their order.
Well, they understand what we need them to do, and we'd like not to have to go back to so many villages every time. So
that would be something that probably at the risk of embarrassing you, but I think that you do have that ability to get people to do what they need to do, and you're impatient until they get it done.
Well, yeah, especially if it's that kind of a need. It's not like we're building a luxury place for excess.
But that's what I think. That's what religion is all about. That's what faith is all about. That's what your priesthood is all about.
Absolutely.
We're supposed to be doing those kinds of things. What is it, for the poorest of the...
The poorest of the poor, right? It was Jesus' command to us thousands of years ago, and it's been the Church's teaching for many, many years. And thankfully, our new Holy Father, Pope Francis, elected last week, has shown in his first week of being Pope his great concern for the poor and the disadvantaged. And I was so happy to hear that there's someone speaking out so strongly about that, and that we're able to do what we're able to do for people like this Honduras medical mission in serving the poor.
That's the thing that I think that is probably going to be the most important thing that we can do. The wealthy can take care of themselves. The intelligent can take care of themselves. The blessed can take care of themselves, but the poor can't.
Right.
And I think that's why we're called upon to do that. And I think that something like this is so very important for worlds. And I said a moment ago that perhaps if we would have one person go hug another person who was in Honduras, and we have enough people to go around to do that kind of a thing, that we wouldn't have the wars, because we are nothing more than human beings. I have a couple more questions, Father, that maybe you can answer regarding the Honduras medical mission. The problems that occur as a result of poor medical, shall we say, medical attention. They don't have any attention.
Lack of
any attention. But the problems that they have, do you think that it has an impact upon the fact that they have not been able to grow simply because they don't have the food in their stomach, they don't have the good health and so forth to be able to do anything other than to subsist or to exist?
Right.
Is this something that you think that if we were to have more of the medical kinds of people down there and giving more medical assistance, that these people would be able to, through some kind of and I don't know what the word would be necessarily, but some kind of inner strength, because of good health, to eliminate many of the problems they have? For instance, they pull their teeth out.
Exactly. I think anytime anybody thinks about a time when they were sick here, and yes, you can make a phone call and you can get a prescription, but it is something that weighs on your mind when you are ill. You wonder, like, well, what should I be doing, or why do I feel this way? And it might prevent you from going to work or going to school or being social, and yet I think that happens also for them is because they are very poor. They live in these small villages. There's not a whole lot of work. They grow a lot of their own food. They may not even be able to educate their child, depending if there's a school in this village or not, depending on how far away the school is. Then our being able to alleviate some of their concern, their mental concern, if there is an illness, I think is a huge help to them, to feel that somebody cares about them, that life's not over, that they can get well again, and they have hopefully a renewed sense, I got to take care of myself. And we strive to do that too in some of the literature that we give those who can read. We do have some printed literature about things like what to do after a baby is born, what to do about bottle feeding, what to do about an infection, if you should get an infection.
I guess the reason I'm asking the question is I wonder if one of those persons or one of those groups that goes down there could be health educators.
Sure, oh, absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
You know, for instance, you wouldn't necessarily have to be a physician, but we have a lot of people who are health educators who could actually help these people so that they won't get sick.
Right, and that's one of the reasons, one of the things we were big on with the water engineers and the sanitation people was to teach the people in these villages what they need to do, because we can't be there all the time. They have to do some things in between our groups that come through there, teach them how to purify their water, give them the ability to do this, and then also teach them about sanitation. And once you teach people about this, they understand, and then they can do something when we're not around to take care of themselves.
Now, this isn't table talk, but how do they get rid of their bodily waste? Is it just a little outside toilet or what?
Well, up until a few years ago, it was just anywhere they wanted to.
Anywhere they wanted
and they didn't understand the effect that would have in the ground and the water. And so it was teaching them what they should do about digging some kind of a sanitation system or something in the ground that would be able to contain that.
Have they progressed?
Yes. Oh, yes. A couple of the villages, the water has been purified, and they've been maintaining that system, and they've also done what they need to do for their sanitation.
And the other thing that was going through my mind as we were going through here, they don't have electricity, but they have a lot of sun. I saw a lot of sunshine down there. Another one of those groups might be then an engineering group that would help them to be able to capture the sun too.
Exactly, with some solar panels or something, yes. That can be, the problem with that right now is that's a very, very costly venture at the beginning.
Well, that's right.
You know, it takes you a while to get to where you would then benefit from that
But they
change.
probably have sunshine all the time.
All the time, yes, it's
And
beautiful.
So, you know, might as well take care of that.
Exactly.
Well, there's so many things that can be done, but the one thing that I think has to precede all of them is that they have to be healthy.
That's right.
So what you and your group have been doing probably is the most important, if not the more important, if not the most important thing. Because if they're not healthy, if they're not feeling well, they're not going to do these other things. If you have a
Correct.
stomach ache, you don't want to do anything. And if they're sick, they don't want to do anything. But
Right.
if they get them well, they will want to have health educators to come in to help them with to get better. They will want to have the water people coming in, the sanitation people and so forth. So I suspect that this is probably we were talking about Genesis a while ago. This is probably the genesis of their salvation, and that is what you are doing. And we certainly do, those of us who have not been there and not doing it, certainly want to take our hats off to people like you who do these kinds of things. It's a real sacrifice. You can say all you want to about how nice and bright it was down there, but it's not too nice and bright if you're perspiring with
Right.
concern and anxiety and all these other kinds of things. I mean, you didn't have a vacation.
No, it was not a vacation.
You did not
No,
have
it was
vacation.
It was nice weather-wise, but we
Nice.
worked very hard,
But
long
you
days.
worked very, very hard.
Yeah,
So
very rewarding work.
And I think that I could probably speak for people like me who have not done this for anybody in Honduras or anywhere else, to say thank you, and what a wonderful example that is for all of us, and coming from a person who probably has other things to do, like running a parish.
A few things, yes, yes.
Like that. So again, Father, we want to thank you for being here, and also for giving us something that, well, I'll have put myself into that position. I did not know a thing about.
Oh,
did not
well,
know a
good.
thing about, so.
Well, thank you. And if there's anyone in the viewing area that would like to be part of this, they can get a hold of me at Sacred Heart.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll certainly hope that someone will come forward. I probably won't be one of the ones.
Okay, we'll have you work back home.
I'll work back home. And we can do
And
that
pray,
too. We can
and
do
pray
that
about
too,
it, yes.
Because we can help to celebrate, to support this, you know,
Right.
financially. So.
I think just knowing about it, I think people are, even if they can't go, just knowing about it and being able to keep those people in their thoughts and prayers is a big part of this.
Thanks again, Father.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Caesar.